They say a year is just 365 days, a collection of moments that come and go. But what if a single year could be more? What if it could be the year that defines the rest of your life? This is a story about 2026, a year that hasn't happened yet, but one that holds the potential to change everything. Imagine an old man named Arthur, sitting in a quiet park on the very first day of 2027. The winter sun hangs low in the sky, casting long shadows across the frozen grass. His weathered hands rest on a wooden cane, and his eyes hold the wisdom of someone who has lived through countless each one bringing its own promises and disappointments. A young person, full of the familiar anxieties about the future, sits down beside him on the cold bench. There's a heaviness in their posture, a weight that seems too much for someone with so much life ahead of them. The young person sighs, "I feel like I wasted another year. I had so many plans, so many dreams for 2026, but it just slipped away. I don't know how to make a year count. I don't know how to stop time from just passing me by while I stand still." Arthur smiled, a gentle, knowing smile. He didn't offer platitudes or empty encouragement. He had seen too many years, understood too much about human nature to offer quick fixes. Instead, he began a story. "Let me tell you about two friends, Leo and Clara," he said, his voice steady and warm despite the cold air. "On January 1st, 2026, they stood exactly where you are now, feeling that same mix of hope and fear. They both made a pact. This year, they wouldn't just let things happen, they would make things happen. They were tired of being spectators in their own lives. Leo was a man of grand pronouncements and bold gestures. He bought a brand new journal, the expensive kind with thick cream-colored pages and a leather cover. On the first page, he wrote in bold letters, "My epic year." He planned to write a novel, run a marathon, and learn a new language. He envisioned himself crossing that finish line, holding a published book, speaking fluently in French at a Parisian cafe. These weren't just goals. They were transformations. He wanted to become a completely different person by year's end. His enthusiasm was a brilliant, burning flame. For the first few weeks, he was unstoppable. He woke at 5 a.m., fueled by the intoxicating rush of new beginnings. He wrote a chapter, he ran every morning through the dark streets, and his language app chimed with daily progress. He posted his journey on social media, collecting likes and comments from impressed friends. He felt invincible. But grand plans require relentless fuel and enthusiasm. No matter how bright, eventually needs substance to sustain it. A busy week at work made him miss a run. Then two. Then a week. A difficult plot point in his novel led to frustration. He stared at the blank page, waiting for inspiration that refused to come. The French lessons became tedious, filled with grammatical rules that seemed designed to confuse rather than enlighten. He started telling himself, "I'll catch up next week." That week became a month. The month became a season. His beautiful journal, once a symbol of potential, now mocked him from the shelf, most of its pages still blank. Each time he looked at it, he felt a pang of shame. Clara, on the other hand, took a different approach. She didn't buy a new journal. She took a single, small notepad, the kind you might find at a dollar store. On the first page, she wrote just 3 words. 1% better. She had read somewhere that if you improved by just 1% every day, you'd be 37 times better by year's end. The math fascinated her. But more than that, the simplicity freed her. She didn't aim to write a novel. She aimed to write just 100 words a day. Some days, it was a story. Other days, it was just journaling, or describing what she saw out her window. The quality didn't matter. The consistency did. She didn't plan for a marathon. She put on her running shoes and ran for just 10 minutes. Sometimes she felt strong and ran longer. Other days, 10 minutes felt like climbing a mountain. But se ran. She didn't try to become fluent in a new language. She learned one new word. Just one. Every single day. She wrote it on a sticky note and placed it on her bathroom mirror. By the time she brushed her teeth at night, that word was hers. As the months of 2026 rolled by, a subtle shift occurred. Leo's grand flame began to flicker. The pressure of his epic year became a burden. His journal gathered dust. The marathon seemed impossible. The novel, a foolish dream born from naive, he started seeing 2026 as a monument to his failure. Another year added to the pile of broken promises he'd made to himself. He was waiting for a burst of motivation, a perfect day to restart, a sign that it was time to get back on track. He told himself he'd begin again on Monday, or after this project at work finished, or when life wasn't so hectic. But that perfect day never seemed to arrive. Life, as it tends to do, remained hectic. Meanwhile, Clara's small, consistent efforts were compounding in ways she hadn't anticipated. Her 10 minutes of running slowly became 15, then 20. Not because she pushed herself, but because her body adapted. What once left her breathless became comfortable, even enjoyable. She found herself looking forward to those minutes, the rhythm of her feet on pavement becoming a form of meditation. Her 100 words a day grew into a short story, then another, then the beginning of a manuscript. She wasn't trying to write the great American novel. She was simply showing up to the page, day after day. Some of what she wrote was terrible. Much of it was mediocre. But buried in those thousands of words were moments of genuine beauty. Sentences that surprised even her. Her one new word a day built a foundation, allowing her to understand sentences, then paragraphs. She started recognizing words in songs, in movies. The language began to feel less foreign, more like an old friend she was slowly getting to know. There was no single day of dramatic transformation, no moment where everything clicked into place. It was a quiet, almost invisible process, like watching a plant grow. You can't see it happening in real time, but one day you realize it's twice as tall as when you planted it. It was the drip of water that eventually carves a canyon. By the end of 2026, Leo was discouraged. Looking back at a year of broken promises to himself, he saw only the gap between his grand vision and his reality. The distance between who he wanted to be and who he remained felt impossibly wide. He wondered if he simply lacked discipline, if he was fundamentally flawed in some way that prevented him from achieving his dreams. Clara, however, looked back and saw something different. She hadn't run a marathon, but she had run over 500 miles in total, far more than she'd run in her entire life before. She hadn't finished a perfect novel, but she had written over 36,000 words, a solid first draft that could be shaped and refined. She wasn't fluent, but she could hold a simple conversation in a new language, something that would have seemed impossible a year ago. She hadn't achieved one giant goal. She had taken 365 small, meaningful steps forward. And when she looked at herself in the mirror, she saw someone different. Not transformed, but evolved. Stronger, more confident, more capable. The old man, Arthur, looked at the young person, his eyes holding the weight of his story. The magic of a life-changing year isn't found in a single, heroic leap, he explained, his voice quiet but firm. It's found in the discipline of the small, daily choice. It's in choosing to do the small thing, especially on the days you don't feel like it, especially when it's raining, or you're tired, or you've had a terrible day, and the couch looks so inviting. He paused, letting the words settle. The world will promise you hacks and shortcuts to greatness, but true, lasting change is built brick by brick, and some days you'll only lay one brick. That's okay. That brick matters. This year, 2026, is your blank page. Don't be Leo, paralyzed by the weight of a perfect vision. Be Clara. Don't waste this year waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes, like the weather. What matters is discipline. The commitment to show up, even when motivation has left the building. Create your own momentum, one small action at a time. Write one sentence, run for 1 minute, learn one thing, do one push-up, read one page, save $1, make one healthy choice, send one message to someone you care about. Because the person you will be on January 1st, 2027 is not determined by the grand promises you make today, but by the small, consistent efforts you make every single day in between. The transformation you seek won't announce itself with trumpets and fanfare. It will whisper its arrival through tiny changes you barely notice, until you look back and realize how far you've traveled. Don't just count the days. Make the days count. Don't waste this year. Your 2026 starts now.